morning once again, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you may be joining us from. My name is Mrs. Irene Mutuzo, and I work as an assistant lecturer in the Department of Psychology here at Makerere University. And I'm very privileged to be part of this Worldwide Universities Network project on the responsible and ethical use of AI for future actions. And particularly today, we will be delving into using AI ethically in the education sector. And before I go on, I just want to second check if you can see my screen, if you can see my slides moving, just before I can continue. Okay, awesome. Yes, back to our topic, using AI ethically in the education sector. Now, I know some of us on this call could be educators. You could be a lecturer, you could be a teacher, or you could be a student or a candidate that is currently pursuing their master's or bachelor's or PhD degree. Now, from the aspect of educators, the concept of AI, while exciting, can also be scary. For a lot of educators, we worry about whether our students are being creative enough, whether they are plagiarizing their work, or whether they will need us now that they can be able to access everything they need through ChatGPT. And the one question that we're constantly asking ourselves is, will we be relevant for the future? And if you ask me, my answer to that question is absolutely yes. Educators are relevant today and will continue to be even more relevant in the future if only we understand how technologies like AI work, how we can leverage them to enhance our output as educators, as well as our student learner output. If we understand these technologies, if we understand how to work with them ethically and efficiently, then we will improve on our skills and work. And I would like us to view the acceleration of AI in this way. Just as Google revolutionized information access for the baby boomer generation, AI has now come in to change the way we, in our generation, I happen to be a millennial, and it's come to change the way we access information, how we search for it, how we compile it, and how we continuously curate it. And if you ask me, just like Google came a couple of years ago and is still here, AI is most likely going to be here to stay. And it's going to continue changing and revolutionizing how different of our generations, from the baby boomer generation to the millennials to the Gen Zs, it will continue evolving. It will only keep getting better and changing how we discover and compile information. And if you ask me, that leaves us with only one choice: to adopt it, to learn how to work with it, to learn how to work with it efficiently and ethically. Now, when we talk about AI, a lot of us were very familiar with ChatGPT. And when you bring AI into a discussion into that education discussion, quite often as educators, we think AI is only for the student. But even for us as educators, we can leverage a lot from AI. And there are so many AI tools that are continuously being integrated in education that have made our work easier, have made our work more efficient and more accurate. Some of these tools include intelligent tutoring systems and personalized learning platforms that allow for more personalized education, whereby I, as an educator, I can assess my student using an AI tool, and that AI tool is able to quickly give me data on the strengths and the areas of improvement on this student. And based off this data, I can be able to make more informed recommendations on how to help this student accelerate. AI is also has the capability of automating a lot of administrative tasks for us. Tasks like grading, tasks like course scheduling, tasks like research and building our course content. And through doing that, it reduces the time we as educators spend on administrative tasks and gives us more time to actually concentrate on how we deliver content to our learners. It gives us more time to research, gives us more time to understand our learners, and at the end of the day, helps us become even more creative in the way we share knowledge to our learners. AI tools also have very good and very powerful analytic capabilities. And in this world where we're using a lot of digital technologies across the globe, data is the new gold. If you know how to access data, you know how to look into it, you know how to analyze it, chances are high you are going to make more informed decisions and you're going to make better recommendations. And we have a lot of AI tools that can be able to now enable us to analyze large databases more accurate, in a faster way, in a better way. And what that does is that it gives us information, deeper, in-depth information about our learners that would ideally take so long to get. It gives us more accurate information. And in that, we're able to make more informed decisions for our learners and our institutions. Then lastly, like we all use ChatGPT, like we all use Google, like we all use different research AI tools, AI has also made the concept of research much better, more faster, and much more efficient, whereby what would take an educator months to find somewhere locked up in a library, through a search, within a second, you're able to get this information, you're able to get multiple references, and you can be able to beef up the information that you share with your learners. And for this reason, because we are seeing that AI is really improving and enhancing a lot of things and a lot of aspects in the education sector, universities and institutions across the world are continuously embracing AI. For example, Stanford University is encouraging the use of AI for research, for teaching, for admin, with a focus on accuracy. MIT is emphasizing AI for social empowerment and education. When we use digital tools, when we use AI, it should not just be for our own private use or for our own individual use, but how can we leverage these tools to create greater and bigger and more powerful social impact beyond the individual to cut across to the communities that we serve. University of Cambridge is encouraging AI in EdTech, in virtual learning, in analytics. And like I said, some of these AI tools allow for assessment, they allow for analysis of data related to our students much faster and in a more improved way. And as we have seen the acceleration of AI, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when AI had just become a big thing, some universities had banned the use of it. But today, when you look at the trajectory of those universities, they've actually become more open to the use of AI, with obviously a few disclosures here and there, but they're embracing it. They're encouraging more research initiatives. And that tells us one thing, that AI is going to continue evolving with more research. It's going to continue growing. It's going to continue being integrated in the education sector. And one of the things I usually tell my students is AI tools on their own are great. But imagine what would happen if you used an AI tool and merged it with the creativity that your brain assumes. You are bound to create magic. You are bound to create more and better content. And if you ask me, there is no doubt that our human brains have capabilities that AI cannot generate, that AI cannot replicate. So us as human beings, the capabilities of our human brains are still very powerful. And if we only rely on AI to generate information, to do the work for us, then we are not tapping into the creativity that our brains have. But if we merge this AI and we merge this creativity, then the output is bound to make a lot of impact. Now, delving into our main discussion today, ethical use of AI. One would wonder, why are issues of ethics important in AI? First, if AI is not used ethically, chances are high there'll be issues around fairness, issues around transparency in how learners are guided. For example, imagine you have two learners and you give them an assignment. One learner uses AI, another solely relies on their brain and research. Now, in certain cases, the student who has used the AI tool may probably write an essay that is really, really good. And if you take that essay on face value and you end up assuming that this student who has used the AI is actually really good, you are actually not being fair in the way you are assessing the student and in the way you are guiding the student. So, and you can clearly see that in this example, the issue of fairness is really, really prevalent. Because in assessing this learner as very good, yet they probably have gaps, you're not being fair to them. You're also not being fair to this learner who has probably relied a lot on research and their brain, and they're not performing as well. You may think that this learner is not as good. So in the way we encourage our students to use AI, in the way we as educators assess work, we as educators administer it or grade, are we ensuring fairness and transparency? Then ethical use of AI is also critical to reduce inequalities perpetuated by AI biases. Like I mentioned, depending on access to a tool, depending on access to the internet, depending on access to a laptop, you'll find that certain learners may not perform the same way. And if you do not have the concept of AI at the back of your mind, you as an educator may ignore further analyzing the possibilities of why a learner has presented an essay in a particular way. So if you do not have that at the back of your mind, you may again end up perpetuating inequalities that are as a result of AI. Then AI, like I said, is very powerful. And today you'll find that as opposed to a researcher going into the field, putting in the hours and the time to carry out research, they are able to generate an entire database in AI. But is that ethical? Will the decisions that have been made of this AI-generated data be right or ethical? Of course not. And very many times you'll find that the data that has been generated is very different from what is on ground. So as educators, in the decisions we make, if we're running an analysis of our students using an AI tool, are you integrating non-AI aspects in analyzing your students' data so that at the end of the day, you're not making wrong decisions based off data that may not be accurate? Then in our world, the digital world, the aspect of data privacy and identity is very important. Each time you open your laptop, each time you send a message, each time you log in into your email or you log in into a new app, you are sharing a bit of yourself. AI has that capability. And should the wrong hands end up on that data and use it negatively, chances are high that our students are going to be negatively affected. Chances are high that someone's identity can actually be taken up. You know, we've heard of situations where someone got access to someone's email and they're able to get access to each and everything about that person. So as we expose our students to AI tools, as we input their data into AI tools, we need to ensure that the tools that we are using are very strict and they are following data privacy laws and standards. So what are the general principles for ethical AI use in education? Transparency. If you are using an AI tool in your grading, if you are using an AI tool to assess your students, do your students know they are being subjected to an AI tool? Does your supervisor know that you are using AI in different aspects of your work? It is critical to allow and tell people what you are using and how you are using it. It is also critical to sensitize the community that you may be working with these AI tools, why you are using them, the value they provide, the merits, as well as the possible demerits of using the AI tool. Accountability. Each time we use AI, do we take accountability for the actions that are generated from that tool? And when I say taking accountability, it does not only mean the positive outcomes of the AI tool, but also the negative outcomes. If something goes wrong, if data is not well analyzed, can we take the accountability that, you know what, I used an AI tool, this tool was probably not the right way. How can I move forward to mitigate the challenges it has caused? Fairness, like I said, the AI tool that you're subjecting to your students, does it have biases or is it unfair in any way? We need to ensure that the tools that we are using are fair. Privacy, like I talked about, in an era where information is collected about us on a daily basis, what is this data being used for? Where is it going and how is it being used? Efficacy. AI doesn't have the answers to everything. AI does not have all the right answers. And for some of us who have interfaced with, for example, ChatGPT, and you ask it for a reference about a certain topic, you'll find that there are times where this ChatGPT will actually come up with a citation or reference that at first value looks very good. It's well written in an API format, and you may think, wow, this is very good data. But when you actually second check that reference that ChatGPT has given you, sometimes, at least in my case, I found that the information never even existed. The author has never existed. The title of the book has never existed. And what that teaches us and encourages us to be aware of is that AI or use of AI alone is not efficient. We need to use AI tools, but we need to also merge that use with the use of non-AI tools to increase the efficiency, to increase the accuracy of the information we generate. Then authorship. And this continues to be a debate, especially in the education world. If someone has generated probably an idea or some of the other beefed up their journal paper with ChatGPT, how do they imply this or how do they showcase this in their work? For certain journals, it's okay to reference ChatGPT as someone that has helped with authorship of your work. For other journals, this is discouraged, and this continues to be a debate that we are in the education sector are having. But what I can say is it is critical to say that you used ChatGPT or any other AI tool, for example, if you are going to use the information in your journal paper, in your notes, in your course outline. Then lastly, appropriate use. Like any digital innovation, any type of technology, it is as good as what it is used for. So in the way we use AI, in the way we encourage our students to use AI, we need to encourage them to use it for good, not for bad. Because we have seen instances where AI has been used for bad, and it has had many detrimental effects to people and their lives. So we need to encourage ourselves and encourage our students to use AI in the right way. Now, having looked at the ethical aspects of AI, when can we say that AI has not been used in the right way? What are some of these scenarios? The first is plagiarism. And I believe if you're a new educator, this is something common, you know. You give a student a question and they'll just take that question into ChatGPT, prompt ChatGPT to give them an answer. And as they receive the answer, word for word, they go ahead and copy, paste this answer. That is not right. And worse still, they don't even acknowledge that this answer has been got from ChatGPT. That would be considered plagiarism and highly unethical. Bypassing plagiarism software. As these technologies keep improving, we as end users are also getting better. We as end users are getting better at manipulating them. For example, from the internet, on YouTube, in different articles, there's information around how to bypass plagiarism software if you have generated AI information. And what this does is that if we as educators don't take a further step to further assess the kind of work our students present, we can easily miss out the fact that a student has plagiarized their work because this student has probably gotten so good or has information around bypassing plagiarism. So we need to be aware of this. And later I'll be giving us a few tips on how we can encourage our students to use AI ethically, as well as how we can catch plagiarized work or AI-generated work. Then fake visual and video content. There have been many times in the media where there's been news of a fake video coming out or fake photo coming out, and that right there is unethical because someone can go ahead and create a picture of you in a scenario that could be detrimental to your reputation. That's not right for that person to use AI in that way. Then for some of us who are educators in the mathematics courses or in the engineering courses, yes, you want to expose your students to use AI, but at the end of the day, you also want them to learn the processes, the steps to the end goal of a certain calculation or a certain process. And this is where we as educators also have to become creative. If we want to encourage our students to learn skills, you know, like calculus, if we are teaching a student and it's an IT student, we want for them to learn basic coding skills, then we have to be creative to create environments for them where we can assess them where they don't necessarily have access to AI. Because if we ignore this and only concentrate on the end goal, on the answer, on the final app this person has come with, we will lose out on actually imparting skills into the student that they need for their future. So as we encourage them to use AI, we also need to actively create environments where they don't have access to AI, where they're exposed to these different programming assignments, calculus, writing assignments, so that they can tap into the creativity their brains have. And like I say, we as human beings and our human brains, we have capabilities that cannot be replicated by any technology. So our brains have a lot of capabilities that we need to continuously tap into. Then for a lot of universities, at least mine, we ban the use of phones during tests and exams. And for one main reason. In the technology world today, it's very easy for a student to use ChatGPT, to use Google, to quickly find information about a certain answer. It's very easy for students to cheat if they have access to ChatGPT in their exam or test. And again, that is where we as educators have to tap into our human capacities, our human brains, to be creative, to challenge our students to go beyond the AI. Now, I know a lot of us as educators, we ask ourselves, how do I really know that my student has not come up with an essay or has not come up with a calculation using AI? And in a world where, yes, AI is growing, what we call AI detector tools are also growing, and we can make use of these tools. For example, CopyLeaks, Turnitin, Zero GPT, Originality AI, Winston AI, all these tools are tools that you can easily access via the internet, and you can be able to feed in your students' information, and they'll tell you the percentage of your students' work that is AI generated. However, like I said in the beginning, as we use AI to generate information, we also need to use non-AI methodologies. So while, yes, these tools could help, these tools are not always 100% correct. For example, they can be manipulated. There's a lot of information on the internet around how someone can bypass an AI detector tool. So they can be manipulated. There are instances where they have the capability of flagging human-generated content, as AI content. A student may have written their content, but for whatever reason, depending on the error the tool could have, it could flag it in the wrong way. Then also because these AI tools have been built in specific demographics and have been tested in specific demographics, they may have biases where, for example, the way they view an article written in English may completely be different in the way they view an article written in my local dialect. So we need to be aware of these things as we use these AI detector tools. What are the non-AI methodologies we can use to detect AI-generated work? One, know your students and their writing. As educators, it is our role to go beyond enabling our students to pass exams. We need to understand our students, who they are, what motivates them, how they write, their styles of building, their styles of innovating, their styles of creating art, the kind of language they use, the words they like to use. When you know your students and their writing styles, chances are high you can easily detect when a student has written their own article and when they have simply gone to an AI tool to generate that article. Then look out for words that are often used by AI-generated text. And I want us to think about this critically. There's words that are often generated, when you use AI. At least on the internet, I've seen words like delve, I've seen words like fathom, I've seen words like moreover, unwavering. There are certain words that are usually detected by AI, and you can be able to see those words. You can be able to tell when someone has a lot of those words, and you start questioning, okay, did this person really write this work or did they use AI? However, please note that just because, for example, someone uses the word delve in their article, it is not always that they have used AI. So take time to read the article, to read the essay, and you'll notice gaps around how the words are being used. If they're overly repeated or if they are used in ways that may not necessarily make sense, then that is a red flag for you to further question the students. Then, like I said, and I started in the beginning, will we as educators be relevant? And the answer is yes, because it is our role as educators to teach students how to ethically use AI. The internet is not going to teach our students how to use AI. The internet has a lot of capabilities, but it may not help a lot when it comes to issues around behavioral change, when it comes to issues around behavioral research, and enabling our students to grow as individuals, to grow as ethical individuals. That role still remains very paramount for us. And it is something that we need to pride ourselves in, that yes, as these tools are there, as students are using these tools, who is going to teach them how to use these tools ethically? And it is us, the educators, ladies and gentlemen. So what are some of the instances, or how can we encourage our students to use AI ethically? Now that we want to expose our students to AI, we want them to use it, because we have seen that in many instances, when they merge AI methods and non-AI methods, what they reproduce is very powerful. So we want to encourage them to use it. We can encourage them to use AI to support them in editing and proofreading their work. And tools like Grammarly and Quillbot not only go ahead and flag work that has grammatical errors, but they also teach the student and tell them this word has a grammatical error because it has a wrong spelling, or because it doesn't have a comma. So yes, much as this AI is supporting this student to get their work better, the student is also learning in terms of spelling, in terms of grammar. Then we can also encourage students to use AI like a guiding light, right? Where they don't necessarily have to copy and paste all the information they get from AI, but they can request the tool to give them a structure, to give them guidance. And then from that, they have a starting point to build something, or to build content in a way they best understand, in a way that is creative. Then AI, like Google, like any other search engine, is as good as what you put in it. And in a world where using AI or prompting AI is going to be a very big emerging skill, we need to teach our students how to correctly prompt AI. If you want AI to guide you in the right way, to give you the right information, how do you probe? How do you ask? How do you prompt? So that at the end of the day, as these students are using the AI, they're not just using it anyhow. They are actually using it smartly, using it creatively, and most importantly, using it ethically. And as we do this, as we encourage ethical use of AI among our learners, we again, like I said, need to expose them to AI. We should not shy away from that. We should not be the educators that are banning this AI in our classes. Because trust me, 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road, when this student is looking for a job, one of the essential and critical skills they're going to need is right and good prompting of AI. And if they have not learned it in your class, chances are high it's going to be very difficult for them to learn. So we need to expose them to this AI, to teach them how to use it in the right way, but also challenge students to critique AI-generated work. And this is something I've done in my classes, and I assure you it's actually opened the minds of my students. Because my students, when they go ahead and create their AI-generated work, I ask them, okay, yes, great, you have created this very good essay. Now critique it. How would you improve this essay? And when these students go ahead to critique their work, they actually realize that sometimes the information that AI produces is very generic. So it lacks facts, at times it lacks context, that only the student can get if they carry out further research, or if they again use their brains creatively. And by doing that, these students begin to gain the confidence that, you know what? Yes, technology is good, but my brain is even better. My human capabilities are even better. So they inadvertently begin to not just rely on AI independently, but they begin to use AI in conjunction with their human capabilities, which is what we want to encourage, which is what we want to push for as we integrate AI. Then we as educators can also create environments where students are forced to learn. They are forced to interact. They are forced to research. These are examples of, project-based assignments. Through group-based assignments, students are pushed to research, to go further, to tap into their brains, to discuss with their friends, to critique more. And in so doing, they're able to generate more content than when they would ideally have if they only relied on the AI. Then let's also challenge our students through oral presentations. In my class, every student has to say a word, whether it's through a presentation, whether it's through answering a question, because that presentation allows me to have a critical and further assessment as to whether these students has internalized the concepts I have taught them. So we should not only just rely on assessing students through group work or through essays or through tests and exams, but can we provide platforms to our students to present this work, to own this work, and in presenting, they actually get better. Their art and craft is also being refined, and through oral presentations, even us as educators, we are learning because the students are tapping into their creativity and they're sharing their knowledge with us. Then testing in environments where our students don't have access to AI. Today, we are living in a world where our phones have become very much part of our lives. When we don't have our phones, or when someone's phone is dead, or when the battery goes down for an hour, it's been shown in research that one's anxiety increases, and that's not healthy. So in the same way, we have an unhealthy relationship with a lot of our phones and devices. We need to create a healthy relationship to avoid that kind of unhealthy relationship when it comes to the use of AI. Students should not grow up or become adults who cannot do anything without the AI. That means if these students' devices are out, if they don't have internet, which is very common in some of the contexts that we live in, this student will not be productive. This student will not be able to perform well at their work when they eventually become employees. So we need to expose them to the fact that AI is great, but it will not always be there. And even when it is there, can we exercise control to not just fully and rely on it all the time, but at times sit back and use the capabilities of our human beings? To end my presentation, I went into ChatGPT and I asked it, for how long will AI be present in the world? And allow me to read this response it provided. The presence of AI in the world is likely to be a permanent fixture. As technology advances, AI will continue to evolve and integrate into various aspects of our lives, from everyday tasks to complex decision-making processes. However, the form and capabilities of AI may change over time, influenced by advancements in research, societal needs, and ethical considerations. So while the specific trajectory of AI's development is uncertain, its presence in the world is expected to endure indefinitely. And I leave one question to you as I open up the Q&A session. Are you ready to embrace AI? Thank you very much. That marks the end of my presentation. I'm happy to take any questions, any suggestions, or if you have anything to share, please raise your hand and unmute your microphone, and let's engage and let's make this very engaging discussion. We have a couple of minutes remaining. So I'm happy to take on any questions or any comments. Thank you for the feedback, Lei. I hope you have learned or picked something new. Anyone with a question? We'll give it 5 minutes. If we don't have any questions, we can end the session. You can also feel free to leave some suggestions in the chat, or even a topic you'd like us to cover in the future. Anyone would like to say something? Okay, I see a message in the chat. How do you figure which student used AI or tricked something? Okay, this is something I covered in this session, and I'm just going to go back to the slide where I highlighted this. You could just give me a minute. Okay, there are many ways, like I earlier said, to be able to detect whether a student used AI for their work. And the first is AI detector tools. We have tools that are available, and these you can access online. Tools like CopyLinks, tools like Turnitin, ZeroGPT, Originality.ai. These all have the capability of flagging whether someone used AI or generated AI in their work. And they work in a very easy way. For example, if you get an essay and you want to test, for AI-generated text, in the same way you'd run this essay through your usual plagiarism tool like Turnitin, you can run the essay through this AI detector tool, and the AI detector tool will be able to give you the percentage of information in the essay that is AI generated. It can tell you 100% of this essay has been AI generated. It can tell you 50%, 70%, depending on what is in that essay. But like I said, as we use these tools, we also need to incorporate other non-AI methodologies to detect whether our students have generated information from AI. Because these tools can be manipulated, and there's a lot of information about this, and it literally guides the students, if you're writing an essay and you have generated it through ChatGPT, how do you ensure that this essay is not detected as AI generated? So you find that a lot of students use some of these shortcuts, and even when you take them through these tools, the work may come up as human generated when it is AI generated. Then it's possible that the tools can flag human generated content as AI content. It's possible they could have biases depending on where this tool was built, depending on the demographic the tool was tested. So you find in the way that it will assess information in, say, a certain language, it could completely be different from the way it will assess information in another language. And what are the other ways you can detect AI that are not necessarily these tools? Know your students and their writing styles. If you have been assessing a particular student, you most likely know how these students write, their tone, the words they use, the structure they follow when writing. So if you know that and you critically assess that, when these students present their essays, you can be able to tell that this student really wrote their essay because, the style they're using is something familiar. It's not too far off. And I'm not saying that the student cannot improve. They can improve, but there'll always be that consistency in their work that identifies their identity as a writer. So you can be able to differentiate between the student who used an AI tool and then the student who did not use that AI tool, because you know them and you critically assess them. Then look out for words that are often AI generated. And most importantly, let us teach the students to use AI ethically. If we use AI ethically, if our students use AI ethically, we won't even need to worry about issues around plagiarism or using it unethically. I hope I have answered your question exhaustively.
Dr. Irene, I have a question. Is it okay?
Yes.
Yeah. A great conversation, actually, when it comes to ethical use of AI tools. That's a perfect topic of the day. Actually, that's my PhD research topic. I'm from University Brunei Darussalam, and I was invited by Dr. Tipajin, if I'm not mistaken, to join this workshop. And then she told me that you have like a research group from different continents. So I would like to join your like workshops as well and share more. You know that this border when it comes to ethical use of AI tools is very narrow. You know, I mean there are many discussions going on actually. You know, for example,
Yeah.
when we put our own data for our phrasing, when you use AI generative tools, is it ethical or not ethical? You know, that's my question. What do you think?
Yeah, but very, very good, Azim. It's awesome to hear that there are people looking into this. And I think it's critical for us to study and research about ethical use of AI. So I'm excited that you're taking on this venture. In order to join the Worldwide Universities Network project, I encourage you to reach out to Ms. Tipajin, Professor Tipajin. You can respond to her email and tell her that you're interested in joining. I believe by virtue of the fact that you are studying a PhD in this, you must have a lot of information. So, and that information would definitely beef up the work that we are doing. So please do reach out to Professor Tipajin.
Thank you. Yeah. Actually, I got the email from her, Dr. Tipajin. Actually, she wrote me email to join this project because the context of my studies ASEAN countries. I'm collecting data from like 8 countries. Bahidol University is one of them. Actually, that's my target. I hope to come there, meet people face to face there. I hope all Mahidol University people hear my voice. You know, so I'm planning to come there to meet them. You know, in person. Yeah. So yeah, I mean that would be a pleasure. yeah, you are in Uganda. Yeah, and my flatmate is from Uganda. You know, my flatmate, the place I am. Okay. Yes. Yeah. Okay. I hope we stay connected. Yeah, for research about AI and especially ethical use of AI. That's my question, like research question as well. You know. Yeah. Perfect topic. Yeah. Thank you for that. Yeah.
No problem. I'm based in Uganda. I could talk about AI all day. My background is in psychology, and I am particularly interested in merging psychological aspects and digital integration aspects. And I believe the ethical use of AI is also very much a psychological aspect, if you ask me, because we are dealing with how people are thinking, we're dealing with issues around behavior change, and they begin from our psychology. So I'm very happy to connect with you, Azim, and we can keep having the debates.
Sure.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Azim.
Welcome. I may email you, Doctor. Okay, yeah, well, let's stay connected. Yeah, thank you for that.
Okay. I'm going to share my email with you in the chat, and we can stay connected.
Sure.
Yes,
sure. Thank you.
Actually, I can share my email right now to everyone that may want to keep forward this conversation. If you're carrying out research, if you want us to share more, if you have any questions around this topic, please do email me and let's get connected. My email is in the chat. Any more questions that we may have? I believe there is also an evaluation form in the chat. So please ensure to take the evaluation before you leave, just for us to be able to improve in how we are running the projects, because we want it to be impactful. Any more submissions, any questions, feel free to leave in the chat, to send us a message. We are happy to receive them. Any questions, any additions? You can even tell us your thoughts, and they don't have to conform to what everyone thinks. Yes, I know of educators who are like, they will never conform to AI. Yeah. So if you have any suggestions or any propositions, please feel free to share with us, depending on even when they may be divergent from the usual. We're here to learn. Okay, I would like to assume that we have learned, and it's been a pleasure taking you through this presentation. Please feel free to leave any feedback. You have my email. If you want to connect more, if there's research that you want to carry out, I'm very available to support you on that. And let's keep the conversation going, and let us remember that we need to learn how to integrate this AI and get better at it. Thank you very much and hope you have a lovely day. This is not the only session there is. There's a lot of other sessions. We're having sessions throughout the month. So ensure to check out the website where you registered for this session and look through other possible sessions you could join in that would be relevant to you. Thank you so much, and thank you for your feedback and remarks. It's been such a pleasure taking you through.